Hi everybody, welcome to another video. By now you've probably already made the keen observation that I am not in the shot, and that's because today I thought I would do a bookshelf tour for all of you. These are not all of my books. This is actually probably a very small collection of my books. As I mentioned, I am closer to 30 than I am to 20, so I have amassed quite the collection of books, and the majority of them are in storage, because right now I'm not living in my own place. I'm actually living back with my parents temporarily. This is just a small collection of my giant book collection, and I thought I would share it with you today. So the first thing you're looking at are some of my collection of thingamajigs, which I will be taking down momentarily to show you the books. But yes, I do collect these adorable singing creature thingies. If you've never seen one before, I'm not sure which one this is, but you squeeze the belly. And the idea is that you can have a bunch of them together and they all sing. Anyway, with that being said, I will clear the thingamajigs away and then start the bookshelf tour. I apologize for the angle of this shoot, but I'm very short and I cannot get up to the top shelf on my bookcase. So, because as you can see, it will be floor to ceiling. It's literally fixed to the ceiling of my bedroom. The first shelf that you're seeing here is basically all my writing supplies. So over here on the right I have some spiral bound notebooks, some just tape bound notebooks, some day planners, pads of paper, some clipboards, one of those 5-star snap ring binder thingies, some folders, 2 portfolios, a scrapbook, some other books here. One of them is for my therapy, and then 2 books from here are from my parents. And then off to the side here, I just have my small library of writing books. The next shelf down is a bit more in reach. In this black basket thing, which you can't really see very well, is my collection of TV DVDs. So up at the top here, you can see I've got the Love, Hate, and Propaganda series, which I'm watching right now. I really love this series. I'm excited for the September release of the War on Terror ones. And then over here, I've got 3 Rubbermaid 2-drawer things for other writing supplies and just random stuff. And then up at the back you can see I have my stapler, my tape dispenser, some crayons and other pens and stuff, and then a bigger notepad right here. The next shelf down is another one of those black bins, and this one actually has more loose DVDs in it and then some more TV on DVD. Then over here I have some wrapping paper at the bottom and some stickers, and this is where we actually get into books. So over here, this shelf is almost entirely, or no, it is hardcover with the exception of one book at the end here. But I have hardcovers on this shelf. This one here I have the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. I have all 3 in hardcover. I have the Complete Moth by Art Spiegelman. It's a really great book if you want to read it, if you're interested in World War II. I also just recently bought the omnibus of the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. It was really cheap and I couldn't resist because it's hardcover and it's got gold leafing. I don't know if you can see that. Then I have an Anne of Green Gables omnibus. This is not the entire series, it's just the first 3 books. I got this as a gift from my aunt when I was 10 for Christmas, because I'd just gone to Nova Scotia, and it was a nice kind of memory of being there. Then I have the omnibus of the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, so all 5 books are in here. I also have the omnibus of his Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. I also have the 3 books loose, but I wanted a all-inclusive single book so that I could take this places if I wanted. And then the last one is an omnibus of the Dangerous Angel series by Francesca Lia Block. It's the Weetzie Bat books, if you've ever heard of them. This is an awesome book. I really recommend it. Then we have another shelf, which is basically randoms, again, mostly hardcovers. So, some Keith Richards. Then this one I just bought actually recently. It's called That's How I Roll, and it's another crime one that I like. Freakonomics, The Believers by Zoe Heller, The Night Circus, Sweet Valley Confidential, which I could not resist buying when it came out because if anybody, was born in the 80s and went to school in the 90s, these books were huge, so I couldn't resist picking it up. A couple here. There's another one by Philip Pullman, The Good Man Jesus and the Scoundrel Christ. I have 2 copies of The Occupied Garden. One of them I bought on my own, and then another copy my parents actually got for me for my birthday and is autographed. The Carrie Diaries, the Rorschach texts, the children's book, which I started but haven't finished, Guns, Germs, and Steel, let's see here, Schindler's List, and then these 2 books my grandmother actually got for me back when environmentalism first became cool in the early 90s, It's called Bamboo and Friends by John Atkinson, and then Welcome to Paradise, also by John Atkinson. And they're kids' books about environmentalism and environmental stewardship, and these are both autographed. Dewey the Library Cat, 3 books by Chuck Palahniuk, another Copeland, Prozac Nation, let's see here, Anne Frank, and Tales from the Secret Annex by Anne Frank. So I'm on the second to last shelf of my bookshelf, and over to the left here I have the Vinyl Cafe series. I think I'm actually missing the last of the books, but if you are Canadian and you have not read these books, then I think there's something wrong. The Vinyl Cafe is based on a CBC radio set of stories that Stuart McLean used to broadcast on the air, and then he turned them into books. They are cute little anecdotes about Canadian life, and if you haven't read them, I recommend them to you. I also have a copy of Bread and Molasses. This is actually a copy of my dad's. It's by Andy MacDonald. It's about life in Cape Breton, so if you're from the East Coast and you haven't read it, definitely pick it up. So I've gotten into some of the more recent purchases that I've made. Web of Angels by Lillian Nattell. I had this recommended to me by one of the workers at Chapters. Headhunters, which is actually Headhunters, Gone Baby Gone, Lamb, and then Hatred, which are the 4 books I'm reading as part of my August to be read pile. Then I also have Island of the Sequin Love Nun by Christopher Moore, and the sequel to Hatred, or Hater, by David Moody, which is Dogblood, which I will be hopefully reading in September. God's Behaving Badly, which is one of the best books I've read in a long time. It's freaking hilarious. I really enjoyed it. Charlotte Street, which I picked up recently. Iron House, which again was recommended to me at Kohl's. One of the women who works there is kind of an eclectic reader like me, so she thought I would enjoy this one. Then there's the Book of Negroes, which unfortunately I have not finished yet. I've read the first piece, I think it's the first third of the book, and honestly, after reading it, it took me a long time to read that first chunk because I found it so horribly sad and depressing that I just couldn't make myself finish the book, but I will at some point. Then I have Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and Dreadfully Ever After, which I haven't read yet, but I'm going to. Then there is a book here I wanted to show, because it's actually by my uncle Gil McElroy. The book is called Cold Comfort. It's kind of part biography, part historical nonfiction about the Cold War and its impact on Canadian life. So if you look at the cover here, this guy in the spiffy suit is my grandfather, who unfortunately has passed away. His name is Don McElroy. The woman beside him is my grandmother, Ernestine McElroy. She's actually, her maiden name is Kircher. She immigrated from France after World War II. This little kid in the spiffy suit is my uncle, the one who wrote the book, Gil McElroy. The girl in the middle here is my Aunt Liz, and then this little girl in the pretty dress on the right is my mom. So there's actually another sibling, but wasn't born at the time this picture was taken, so she didn't end up on the cover. But I have a copy. I ordered it. I did not get a copy for free. I read it when it was first finished and before it was submitted for final edits to the publisher, and I have not finished reading the bound copy, so this is in my to read pile as well. Then I have a set of 3 books that actually my brother's girlfriend got for me for my birthday last year as part of my anxiety disorder stuff. It's the Don Miguel Ruiz books, The 4 Agreement, The 5th Agreement, and The Voice of Knowledge. I also have 2 Miriam Tews books. The first one I have in this pile is Irma Voth. I actually picked this up at, I think it was actually at Costco. And then I also have The Flying Troutmans, which I have read and really enjoyed. I have 2 copies of books by Charlene Harris. I have Dead Until Dark, which is the first book in the True Blood series, and then Living Dead in Dallas, which is the second. As I mentioned in my intro video, I really enjoy the True Blood books. And over here, I have the Sailor Moon manga that has been re-released as part of an anniversary collection. It's apparently the most accurate translation of the original manga that was released in Japan. So I have everything that's been released up to book number 6, which just came out very recently. I really enjoyed the series growing up, so on the cartoon series on YTV, so I'm picking up every volume of the manga as it gets released. So that moves me down to the last shelf that I will be sharing with you, which is my classics. And as I mentioned, because this is not a full snapshot of my real bookshelf, this is kind of the little classics section. I have many more classics that I love to read. So over here on the left we have Middlemarch by George Eliot, and then I have my little Dickens section, the Pickwick Papers, Bleak House, and The Old Curiosity Shop. Charles Dickens is one of my favorite classic authors. I love his books. I think he's got an amazing way of telling stories. So these are awesome, and they're the old Premier Classic covers, so they're really cool. A lot of them are photographs, some of them are paintings and things like that, but I love the covers. Let's see if I can squeeze that back in here without dropping the camera. There we go. And then recently I picked up these 3 books. They're Barnes & Noble Classic Editions. If you can believe it, I have never ever read Aesop's Fables, Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales, or any of the Grimm's Fairy Tales. So I picked up all 3 because they're super cheap. The covers are also pretty cool as well. Again, these are the Barnes & Noble Classics, and they've all got kind of painted or sketched covers. So Aesop's Fables, Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales, and then Grimm's Fairy Tales, of course, with them being darker. It's got this creepy guy on the front. Then we head over to Little Women, which I believe this was a birthday present on my 12th or 13th birthday from my parents. Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, another Christmas gift from my parents. A copy of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This is massive. I would not advise the faint of heart reading this because it will take you a while and the text is very small. And then my favorite classic, which I've talked about in another video, which is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then over here I have 3 books that are actually from my parents' collection from when they went to school. My mom won this from one of her teachers when she was in grade school. It's called The Adventures of Chatter the Red Squirrel by Thornton W. Burgess. Then I have a copy of Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And again, this was another high school copy. This was my mom's. And then I have a Penguin Modern Poets book. This was actually my uncle's, the one who wrote Cold Comfort. And there's poems in here by David Holbrook, Christopher Middleton, and David Weevil. And there's some really awesome poems in here. I have the pages marked for ones that I like. Then I have a copy of Roots. This is actually my parents' copy. You can't really see it because it's got a black binding, but it's a copy of Roots by Alex Haley. And then over here is the J.R.R. Tolkien in the more recent HarperCollins black paperback binding. So I have Unfinished Tales, The Silmarillion, The Hobbit, and then of course The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. These 3 I actually bought in a boxed set, but when I picked up these other 3, I just put them all together. So that is my bookshelf tour. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and if you have any questions about some of the books you've seen or about my bookshelf in general, feel free to let me know, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye!